Fight Gaming, and that is going to be NRG Galaxy done for. So Fight's definitely starting to ring out here. Not the boy pushing up by himself with that S.
I do see B-Bold with 2 members up, so I guess they did get the revive after that 1v1 that we saw, and of course Ingo Gaming now chiming in. Shotgun play, massive. AGG taking huge damage, but the big open space is going to get capitalized. And even a third-party steal perhaps coming through.
And Alpha 7 are going to be coming through this same side right here, so they're going to be all just trying to move to this hardship side, and we're going to see who's going to end up on top. Revo gets knocked by Colgoat, and Aragon catches Carrillo, so Alpha 7 getting punished here by Rolls of War, and they are out of there.
That is huge. 7 eliminations for Royals of War already defending this position. And I mean, Alpha 7, that's a great scalp to take.
And like I was saying, right, Rolls of War down to be bold. This is their chance, right? They know what they need to do. And when you have Aragon with 6 eliminations by himself, I mean, he's looking to put this team on his back today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a team effort. I'm sure the damage is a little more spread. But of course, being the tip of the spear, got to give the plaudits to that. Inko were able to get some revives. AGG weren't able to throw their grenades on point just yet, but then the follow-up frags could get some re-knocks and keep Inko out of this zone. AGG do have the defending line, as we see, and Hyper also eliminated, but what a spray down!
Wow, and then I bet that just on the run. Is he going to make it to the water? He does. So All Glory Gaming still up. Look at the damage. Aragon, so far, 648 damage, 6 eliminations. This guy is putting in work, and he's going to have to put in more, because this zone is going to go up north. They're holding this edge, but it looks like Aragon by himself is looking to challenge All Glory Gaming.
I mean, might as well, with those numbers. Basically a one-man army. And they're pushing down. It doesn't, yeah, because again, there's so much open space in the center of the zone. Clearing your back, clearing your sweep is a very strong plan here.
He gets another knock. Are you kidding me? 748 damage. Victix take down Pedrino, and All Glory Gaming are just about out of there. So, what a play and a start for Royals of War. 8 eliminations so far. And they're not looking to let off the gas anytime soon. SLR, big chilling in the middle of the zone. They're in a great position. And Cardoso from Team Liquid is still up.
There's a lot of solos still up. They're going to have to leave. Most of them are in the water because this next phase did shift away from the river. There's maybe a small edge of below the bridge that's available for one player to hide out in.
Influence Rage. Rocking a duo here on the north side. They're going to be pushing up little by little. Milo does get mighty close to that crate, but it looks like it's already been looted. So, things starting to heat up here. Stage 5, minute 30 on the clock, but the problem is this is all open field, Cameron, right? I mean, who do you feel has the best position looking at the zone?
God, I would say I like Royals of War to be able to extend their momentum from that high ground, but it's not in the zone. That's the problem. They got to fight through a bunch of different teams. Otherwise, it's one big, dare I say, it's a battle royale of just teams hiding behind like a single tree, a single rock. And this is when having multiple players up is even more impactful because you can get those sight lines when there's significantly less cover.
Oh, what a shot there. Milos with the immediate headshot onto Guizao, and Deathwolves now their numbers starting to dwindle here. Obscure's going to be throwing a little bit of a smoke wall here towards this tree, and I want to see him back up that buggy. Yeah, back up that buggy just a little bit so you can have a little cover behind you. And, yep, that tree, though, that's a thick tree, Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
He's staying there for a minute. Oh, that nade. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah, Milo is looking to finish all of these knocks, clear all of these kills, get as many of these eliminations confirmed as possible before they go, before the revives can get locked in, and that's going to be made him very, very unsure about going for the 1v1 against Milo.
Yeah, let's see where this next zone goes. Who's going to have the advantage here? All right, this is a pretty open area. That compound, though, is still available, a little mini Alamo right there. Wonder who's going to take that. Is it going to be Royals of War? And I'll tell you what, even though SLR are so down on the leaderboards, I want to see them get hyper-aggressive here, Cameron, right? They have some numbers. They have a good position. If they wanted to even try a crazy, unbelievable run, they need like 15 elimination chicken dinners every game, right? And I want to see them at least try to go for that. Koi gets knocked, and you can just see them, right? SLR just trying to play the same game that they've been playing all tournament long.
Yeah, I mean, once they saw those eliminations, once they saw those, even the knocks come into play against the Wolves, they should have pushed out themselves and try use their main advantage, extend that, and sweep over the entire area and clean up that side. But now that because they've had their focus split between the Northeast as also the Southwest, they're getting these knocks now against them. Thankfully, they're able to go through. Dragon's able to get the revive onto Koi. They can stay at least as 3 up. But there's so much pressure coming in from opposite sides. And with E7 even able to extend some of their players up towards the north to really set their own crossfires up, it's looking very unsure for SLR.
It's just bad altogether, in my opinion, because, I mean, like, SLR, they're not going to, with 2 elimination, chicken dinner's not going to do it, right? You need crazy more numbers than that. So I would rather see exactly what you said, right? Hey, make the push outside and make some plays happen. I mean, you got nothing to lose at this point. You're in 15th place. Get it done.
Yeah. You can't just look at your position in the zone, like, top down, and say whether you're going to defend or not. It's also about the terrain. But fight 1v1! Oh, Doran is finally able to put a stop to Team Liquid. 6 eliminations for Titan, 5 on to Doran, so a pretty positive run for them, able to secure top 4 in this round at least.
Alrighty, we got Energy 7, SLR still in the game here, so teams at the bottom, right, making it all the way to the end in game number 1. Titan Gaming in 13th place, Energy 7 in last, Super Lazy Reflex at 15th, so, you know, some inconsequential points being made, but Royals of War, right, they're the ones that still need it the most at this point. Wow, Aragod with 7, 9 eliminations, great start for this team.
Really good, taking a nice position. It's the most defensible spot in the zone, and that's a pretty low bar to clear, I admit. And they're mostly just looking for the final players that they have kind of been tracking on the east side. They heard the fight that happened at the tower, so they should know that Doran is just coasting along that ridge. He's hiding below that defilade. Nope, spotted out! Whoa, the damage got close. But yeah, that's a 10th kill, 10th elimination for Royals of War.
8 for Aragod, all by himself. And I'll tell you what, when the going gets rough, having a player just perform like crazy, I mean, you could just see, right, how much that will just improve the team's mental game, right? So I'm interested to see how Royals of War are going to finish the day off with just such a amazing start here.
A couple of fishing shots by White Elegy, tracking the flex player of E7, shots from Koi as well. And Waka was doing a good job of just not going down. Finding opportunities, finding openings, but without being too aggressive, overly aggressive with it.
Yeah, and that could be another... Well, Entity 7, I mean, 5 eliminations so far. Not a bad game for them. Very, very spread out. They have the numbers above everyone else. They're the only team right now with a 4-man. Everybody else is rocking a duo.
Yeah.
But I would not count Royals of War out, especially with how Aragod has been playing.
Yeah, and also the position. I think they have a small little corner of their compound, of the wall, that they can play from. It's not going to be a pretty central spot, but it could be impactful, especially as Entity 7 are so focused on SLR. And look at this slow creep, crawl forward, knows where Koi is. I don't know if that was a bit too premature, but the grenade's going to go out.
Jumping nade, not able to make it just yet. Koi going to use that antenna as coverage, and it's going to work for now. Anyone's game at this point. E7, right, on the move. They're going to be spreading their players out. Oh, White Elegy in big trouble, and Hate's going to catch him.
Yeah, nothing for Koi to do, but just watch.
Oh, wait, Kogo stole it.
Listen, that's great for Royals of War. It's terrible for E7, who are having a good game of their own, but to lose any elimination is not a great feeling. But hey, at least now in D7, they get more incentive to try and get Royals of War back and at least confirm the chicken dinner. But no!
Era. God, gonna get another elimination here. Call that 9. Unbelievable. Super Lazy Reflex eliminated, so now it's just Rolls of War versus Entity 7, and they lose a player pretty needlessly here.
They still have the man advantage, but the cover that is being abused by Royals of War, Cold Code is going to extend out into the rock, but this is where that man advantage, that crossfire setup, can start to become more impactful as Royals of War need to leave their compound in order to have some semblance of solid positioning. They can't just wait for Phase 8.
Kogo needs to watch out. Yeah, he's going to watch out for that rock there because his legs are going to be exposed here at this point. But he does have a little bit of that hill to help give him a little bit of coverage. But I would not count out Rules of War just yet. Even though Entity 7, they have the man advantage, they have the terrain advantage as well. But the way Rules of War are shooting, they're looking pretty good. Enemy 7 need to just close this game, though.
And, I mean, their positioning should. It really is it's just going to come down to how effectively Royals of War can get the knocks when the opportunities present itself. Colgoat hit it forward under the rock is a good start.
Don't count out Entity 7, Cameron, because you know what? They're in a big battle themselves. You know what that battle is, Cameron?
What?
It's the battle for not last place.
That's an important one.
It is. It is. And let's see if they're going to be able to lift themselves out of that position. I mean, 6 eliminations, top 2 finish already is great for them. But man, I'll tell you what, Rolls of War, Aragon with 8, that is a insane performance.
So, here's the thing for E7. Both members of Royals of War are focused on that southwest player, Francois. And he has a nice angle, and he's not over-peak in that spot. But once the blue comes in, he's going to be pushed out in the open.
That's right.
And if he gets instantaneously lit up without any response available by his teammates, that is the opening that I think Royals of War are going to be waiting on and playing for.
I think it's all up to Hate here. I think Hate has to make a push to that tree on the left side. And the play zone catches him! So he just goes out to zone, and Colgoat actually gets the finish. Aragon peeks out. Hate immediately peeks back. It's a 2v2. Oh, beautiful headshot, though, from Hate. And it couldn't have been at a better time.
Not at all. Grenades come out on both sides. Try and even things up. That rock is doing a great job defending Colgoat.
Well, we've now reached stage 9, folks. This zone is going to go down into absolutely nothing. If Colgoat was able to get that nade, it'd be huge. But now Deblim is there. Oh, he might be blind. He is blind. And a nade is on his way. Oh, just short.
And look at Hate flanking around, flanking from the backside. He's completely undetected, but suddenly Colgoat's going to spot it out. Realizes that he's been surrounded.
Does he have the nade? He does it. Oh, 1v1. He's got it. Oh, and he gets taken out. Entity 7 gonna win the first game of the day. I mean, we didn't even talk about this squad at the start, but a great performance from them. But you got to give it up to Rolls of War as well, because they're the ones that have the most to lose at this time, and they really put in work to start things off here, Cameron.
Absolutely. They made Entity 7 really have to work for their win there. It got so close at the end. And I do think Royals of War got the most points of the round, regardless of not confirming the chicken dinner. But what's the word? There's a word for it. Like the emotional battle of getting that, the moral victory of getting the chicken dinner is also just going to help E7's mental as they head into the rest of today and this whole week.
Yeah, great game, man. An exciting game to start the day off with. You know, funny enough, both E7 and Royals of War had not received a win and had not earned a win, both of them since day number 6. So it was kind of like, who's going to win it? Who's going to, end that dry spell? Well, obviously it was E7, and good on them for doing so. You know, Hot Jukes, I was looking at them for the longest time, and going into, I believe, Zone 6, there was only 2 teams who had 3 or 4 members respectively. E7 was one of them, and then the other one was SLR. So SLR actually had 4. E7, I believe, was hovering around 3 for the long, or no, E7 had 4, and then SLR had 3. So they had the biggest leap. I was like, all right, these 2 are going to be the number 1 and number 2. But SLR ended up dropping off. E7, though, kept their members up to the very end. And what I liked about them is they covered a majority of that final zone. They kind of spread out right to get multiple angles, kind of triangulate their opponents, and it ended up working out in the end, although you got to give credit to Royals of War for that final battle.
Oh, yeah, you have to for sure. I will say this. I would have liked to see Entity 7 just pop off afterwards and say, you guys are trash, Y'all better fear us, baby. We're coming back. And honestly, I will say this. With Entity 7 starting out so strong, they could be one of the most feared teams in here. And the reason why is because they have nothing to lose, right?
True.
So if they wanted to, they could hot drop on your squad and just say, nah, we're not going to let you qualify, right? So still, right, even though you are, they're down on the leaderboards, I wouldn't want to bully them for sure.
Cameron, I view teams like E7 as the boogeymen, okay? They're the Grim Reapers. They're the ones that can dictate whether you get top 4 or not.
Yeah, and again, just as Jukes was saying, going towards the end of a tournament, when the teams get more established on their position in the leaderboard, and when what they have opportunities to get gets narrower and narrower, you will start to see them make decisions based off of that. Because when there's a team that you have the opportunity of actually sort of overtaking their position on the leaderboard, you're more likely to go aggressive into their spot. When those positions aren't available, who knows what they're going to do in the meantime? They could just go off of vibes at that point.
Hey, Taylor, real quick. Real quick. Could you imagine if Hyper was in the race for top 3? Right?
Oh, my gosh.
That would have been insane. Oh, my God. That would have been great.
Dude, any team in the running for NA would be like, whoa, that would have been incredible. And honestly, big moves from North America if that were to happen. But we got an Hyper still up in there, right? NRG Galaxy most improved. We're okay. We're doing all right. Let's start, though, at the beginning, and it was actually Zone 3 is where I want to start, and Hodgix, we'll go to you. I want to talk about that battle between B-Bold and Team Liquid that went down. Cardozo was looking like the boogeyman of Team Liquid, but he kind of had to be that boogeyman given the fact that he was the only one alive at the time, but B-Bold was also given it the TL, too.
Oh, I mean, if you're B-Bold, if you're their coach, or that's one where you let out a big sigh. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what is happening here? Because I noticed mistakes before that even happened, right? I saw Reyes pushing into buildings by himself, and I was like, if Cardozo was in one of those buildings with that DBS, you could easily get knocked and thirsted, and now you're down a player, right?
Yeah.
But then something worse happened, right? You see the player knock, Cardozo just takes full advantage of it. It's mistakes like that that one play alone could be the difference between them making it into top 3 or not.
True. Well, they do decently well. 4 eliminations, 8th place. So they get placement points. They also get their 4 elims. B-Bold, the team that's trying to rise up the ranks, I believe, on the lower ends. But, Cameron, let's give credit, though, to obviously, Royals of War. Royals of War looking great, getting a massive win against Alpha 7, knocking them out in 14th place through their good effort. And also, Eric got absolutely popping off, finishing with a total of 8 eliminations. They finish in 2nd place, and you called it. They get they get more points over E7 despite not getting the winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, and we didn't actually see it, but remember, one of the team wipes that they got, Royals of War, was against Alpha 7. And even though they did arguably have a better position, because Alpha 7 was the team on this week, Royals of War were sort of defending their spot, even though with the blue coming in, they weren't going to be there for too long. Regardless, they still were able to win a fight against one of the top dogs. So, absolutely, they are making a big statement here. The big question is, can they continue that run?
That's a big question, right? Royals of War, they've got a big come-up potential, and they need to come up today. Hodge, you talked about it, right, Hodgix, in the pre-show. It's like Royals of War is a team that can absolutely make it in the top 4, but given the fact that they were a little bit lower, sitting in 8th place, they were one of those teams that had a better chance than AGG and B-Bold, but, they had the best chance, and I think they're making the most of it. This was such a big game from them. Do they move up the leaderboard?
It looks like, they're not gonna, because they have a big gap to cross, right?
Sure.
But that's how you cross it, right? We needed to see crazy games from them today. They can close that gap, and then they can easily surpass Death Wolves if they do great on their double points day. So they're doing what they need to do. There's still 5 matches left to go, though, right? They can't let off the gas. And I'll say this: if Aragon, you see him do performances like he just did today.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 8 eliminations, 1,000 damage all by himself, right? That is how you start things off.
Absolutely, without question, Aragon was incredible. Give respect, though, also to his duo of Kogo, who I think was so implemental in that final zone, putting up such a tremendous fight. Loved what they were doing. Royals of War, a standout team in game number 1. We look at the second page, Cameron. The only moving that we have is SLR will move up, and that's because they do get 3rd place with 3 eliminations. Outside of that, though, no moving around. B-Bold, AGG still looking to break into top 8.
Yeah, definitely need to. And I'll tell you what, Cameron, right? B-Bold, making a mistake like that with how many points they need to cross, that hurts.
It does, and I don't even know how that can happen. But I do want to give a little bit of extra love to NTG7. They got the chicken dinner. They didn't get as many kills, eliminations as Royals of War did, but the fact that we saw them constantly moving around that end game, they weren't scared, and which you could easily see for a 16th place team. They weren't scared and like all huddled in a corner. They were really trying to go for the full win.
And what I appreciate about B-Bolt, despite them taking that early L against Team Liquid, they still had 2 members up, giving that revive. You called it out, Cameron, a little bit earlier into the game. And they do finish decently well from what they could have finished off with if Team Liquid would have been able to, sink their teeth into all of them. Although you got to give credit over towards Team Liquid Cardozo. I mean, he definitely tried picking up 3, or at least nearly picking up 3. Well, that's game number 1. Arigel finished a wonderful game coming out from E7. Obviously, Royals of War, they get the most points with their second place. We'll see if they continue that movement up the leaderboard. 30 points still to catch number 7, but hey, anything is possible during the final week. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, map number 2, Miramar, coming your way.
Hello everyone, the all-new 2024 Pubg Mobile Super League event PMSL Pass will be available from May 31st to June 30th. The PMSL Pass has 20 levels and only takes 500 UC to unlock. Get a Dark Arts Gentleman set immediately after purchase. After unlocking the PMSL Pass, you can view the missions and complete them to get points. Raise your pass level to claim corresponding rewards. Plenty of rewards await you, including the Dark Arts Gentleman set, Dark Arts Gentleman glasses, Dark Legend Smoke Grenade, Dark Legend Avatar Frame, and the ultimate reward, Dark Legend UMP 45. To quickly raise your pass level, you can 1. Redeem points from points voucher redemption codes. You can start by using the redemption code 24PMSL Pass now. 2. Use UC to purchase levels directly. After reaching the max level, every additional level reached will grant 1 PMSL crate. Additionally, you can gift the PMSL Pass to friends who meet the conditions. Send your friends a small gift and complete to see who unlocks the ultimate reward first. That's all for this introduction to the 2024 Pubg Mobile Super League event. Unlock the PMSL Pass, put on the Dark Arts Gentleman set with friends, and collect amazing rewards.
2024 PUBG Mobile Super League America Spring Season, day number 11. I'm Taylor Reflection Soap, joined by Hot Jukes and Cameron Davis. Game number 1 is done with, and what a game it was for E7 and Royals of War. When we talk about the standings, for those who might just be tuning in and just joining up, right, there is a massive battle that's taking place for 3rd and 4th. 1st and 2nd, as you should know, Alpha 7, Team Liquid, they locked that in. Team Liquid currently in 1st place, Alpha 7 there in 2nd place. But Hot Jukes, man, when we talk about the standings and we talk about the teams trying to come up, who are we looking out for?
Oh, man, we're obviously looking at 3rd place all the way down to 7th, right? They're the ones that have the best chance to be able to secure that last slot that gives you that golden ticket to the group stage, right? 1st to 3rd, get there. We know who's 1st and 2nd, right? It's going to be one of those two teams. But 3rd is still up for grabs. 4th as well gets you to the survival stage, but you don't want to go there unless you have no choice. But going on down, right? Royals of War, 8th place down to 10th. They still have a chance, right? Realistically, with double points. But they have to have ridiculous games at the start. And one team that did it out of those 3 is Royals of War, especially this last match.
Absolutely. Royals of War, Cameron, right? That game was so big, not because it's their first win since day number 6, but because they're in 8th place. And outside of 9th and 10th, who still have a chance, right, but need to step it up from this point forward, Royals of War is the team that is closest, at least when it comes to the front page, into potentially breaking it, or the furthest, I should say, to breaking into 3rd and 4th. So that game number 1 was instrumental to the moving up.
Yeah, and Aragon was instrumental on Royals of War performance there.
Yes.
So definitely you have to assume that the other members of that team were there in support elements. They were playing what we call pack play, which is when like all 4 players basically stay together and just spin through team fights one after another. And so they're all next to each other. But Aragon was like the tip of the spear, the one dealing most of the damage, getting most of those eliminations, was active until the very, very end. If he can keep up that performance and the rest of the team can continue to back him up, I am excited to see if Royals of War, how long it takes them to really break over Queso in 7th place, and how high they can get even on this first day, and that's before bonus points become a factor.
Yeah, well, that's what excites me. You know, I think today is the big day to try and close that gap as much as possible. Bonus points is going to happen for every single team, all 16 of them, right? But today is the day where everybody's on an even playing field, and you have a chance to even up that gap a little bit more. And if you can do so, just maybe even move above your competition, or at least have it as close as possible, it's going to make the double points day, whether it be for you, even better, or if you don't have double points that day and maybe your opponents do, it's going to soften that blow a little bit, Hot Juke. So I think today is incredibly important to do the best you can. I think every day is important, obviously, but today, just that even play field makes it even more important in my eyes.
For sure. I mean, you have to make sure that you are just warmed up and ready to go. You have to believe in yourself. And a lot of these teams, I think, struggle with that, you know. And today is that opportunity, right? Because it's even playing field for everybody. You want to be able to pop off, right? Be bold, seeing them make such a simple mistake and getting crushed for it. It's going to hurt, right? I want to see them bounce back, though, right? It's not like it's impossible. It's going to be hard, though, after a game like that. Royals of War did exactly what they needed to do today, as opposed to all the other teams in 3rd on down. They just shredded everybody at the start. They have a lot of points. They still have a big gap to cross, right? But now that gap may not look as large to them now that they had at least one good game under their belts.
I think what hurts, though, about Be Bold so much is that they still are in the conversation of breaking it into, the top 4, but they're also the furthest away in 10th place for the realistic teams to potentially move on up. And the fact that they get punished that hard, I know it's not something that they feel good about, but it's something that they're going to have to deal with, and recovery is key. The top competitors should know how to recover well. And speaking of which, Cameron, going into Miramar Game 2, what team needs the biggest recovery?
I mean, it's got to be Bold, or it's got to be Influence Rates. It's got to be any of these teams that we're talking about trying to really face off against Alpha 7 and Team Liquid. The lucky thing is that we play so many games throughout this entire event. One round won't define you. It's how you're able to bounce back.
That's right. Well, here it is. Game number 2 about to get started. We're hopping into Miramar. So excited to see if Royals of War can keep that energy up, or will Alpha 7 look for some revenge, right? Given the fact that Royals of War wiped them clean off the map. They look to come in even stronger this time around alongside that of E7. Can they go back-to-back? We'll find out all that and more as map number 2 gets underway. Hot Jukes, Cameron Davis, take it away.
Let's get it going here. Match number 2, we're going to head into Miramar here. And we're going to see how this goes. Plane path right down the center, just south of El Pozo. That's going to be a good drop for Alpha 7. And, one thing in particular, Cameron, I think that especially teams like, and pretty much third place all the way down to 10th, they should take advantage of the day at another level. Because in my eyes, I think Alpha 7 and Team Liquid are still just kind of having fun with this. I think they're absolutely trying their heart out. But I think they're more focused on like fixing problems and making adjustments, getting ready for the next stage. In the latter days of this tournament, when it comes down to really who's going to get first and second, I think that's where we're going to really see Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, go back to the main strategies that work and go all out. So if you have any chance right now to put points on the board, I think it's right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of just chilling at the top. We saw a little bit of that with Team Liquid being a little free and loose with their approach around that Stalber area. Granted, they picked up an initial kill elimination onto Influence Rage while doing so, but it just speaks to the fact that at the top they're feeling virtually untouchable unless it's Alpha 7 on the opposite side of things. And so that we could see that give some opportunities to the teams on the chase, have more options, more opportunities for scoring there, where the teams that are usually like trying to soak up all of those points, be those point sponges, kind of giving up that pressure just a little bit.
For sure. And now we have a nice southern circle, and I mean nice in a very sarcastic way. This is the worst zone for Miramar, I think, for a lot of these teams. Having to go down south, the terrain's just that much more brutal. But it does open up an opportunity for some of these squads that are kind of nomads in Miramar. They could just get some vehicles, head down south, loot for free, and, set themselves up early.
Right. I was looking through the numbers a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, I believe outside of the top two teams, All Glory Gaming actually is one of the better performers on Miramar. So if there is a team that should be looking to try and sort of squeeze every last drop out of this specific round, that's definitely one of them, because they're going to do the mix. They're in 9th place, just below Royals of War, or at least they were just below before the 19-point grab that we saw in the previous round. But still, they could easily bounce back themselves and make sure the Royals of War can't separate themselves from them too quickly.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be the week where we see, or at least I hope we see, Cameron, right? Some different strategies come out, because I think teams need to really be realistic here. Like, just playing this game as is for a lot of these squads isn't going to get you into third place. I think that a lot of these teams need to perform well, especially on their double points day, and then look to start hunting down and maybe even hamstringing some of their other teams on their double points day, So
right.
I want to see that. We haven't really seen teams, I think, adjust strategies apart from Death Wolves, right? Because Fudia had their double points day last week, Cameron, and Death Wolves on Sandhawk went up to that north eastern island that Fudia goes to since the zone went there, and they actually took them out early on. So that's the only time so far we've seen those adjustments. I hope we see some here this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing, this double points activation. I haven't seen it used before on mobile. Maybe it has somewhere else that I've just missed it, but it is a new thing. And our job is to kind of just sit and watch, and so we tend to theory craft a lot more. But when you're actually in the server, it's understandable, and it's usually the case that teams just kind of focus on what's worked for them in the past. And so it takes a while for any sort of actual meta adjustments, strategic adjustments, especially when it comes to the sort of overall leaderboard game. Because, there's the game in the server itself, and then there's the game of what the leaderboard means, and the reactions, and great shots from SLR. Alpha 7 losing 2 off the rip.
This is Alpha 7's kryptonite when it comes to Miramar. Losing players early on rotation. We know they like to drive through El Pozo, so they're looted up to the teeth. But, sometimes you got to full send it on down, and you get caught out, and that's exactly what happened. Losing 2 of their best players as well. That's got to hurt.
Yeah. Ugh. But that's kind of my point. Like, when are we going to start seeing more rotational camps against teams that are on a double point day?
Oh, that's what kills me, because I've been waiting to see that. I'm like, why it makes no sense for teams not to do it, in my opinion. You know which 4 squads are going to have their double points day. You know where they like to drop. So why not try to camp a rotation and just take out a player, maybe even 2. And let's be real. If you're going to do that against a team like Alpha 7, that's the best way to fight them, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to fight them straight up, So
no.
if you can take them out of a vehicle like that, that's going to help you out big time.
Yeah, where they can fight back, but you give yourself at least a little bit of an advantage. Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Especially early on. Because worst case it doesn't work, you just drive away.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it works regardless because now you got Alpha 7 questioning themselves. You got teams thinking, oh man, are they camping us? And that could slow their rotation down by a few seconds, Cameron. And you know how it is in Battle Royales. Even every second counts, right?
Yeah, 100%. Every single second counts, which is what we've talked about so many times before about making the right call at the right time and everyone just full sending it, full commitment. And if you delay even a couple of moments, couple of seconds, then your plan could really just get turned upside down. That's the same thing for spoiling another team. You get a knock, even if you don't confirm that elimination, you force them to go for the revive, and that can ruin their game or at least their initial game plan there.
Or even nading your own teammate, Cameron.
Exactly.
Yeah, that hurts as well.
So, but when it comes to going for these risk-reward plays, sure, prize pool is nice. All these teams that are going to try and put themselves in the best position on the leaderboard at the end of this event it makes sense. But it's the final week. I want to see teams say, I am willing to try and throw a Hail Mary that could potentially get me third, even if it risks me dropping down 2 or 3 leaderboard positions if it doesn't go right.
Yeah, even if that team gets destroyed in the group stage, right, during the World Cup, the experience alone is going to be absolutely incredible. Not to mention that, was it $3 million prize pool we're going to see coming up? Oh, boy. So, yeah, that is what we want to see. Oh, and what?
And it was not even confirmed that they're going to get destroyed. Death Wolves have been a total Cinderella story.
That's true.
Of this entire season so far. So for everyone else, yeah, sure, maybe I wouldn't expect much out of them. Death Wolves, I don't know what to expect. So if we get another team like that into the mix, suddenly throwing them into the global stage and seeing what happens, that'll be exciting.
That would be exciting, especially for Death Wolves coming all the way from the qualifiers to here and doing so well. Definitely that Cinderella story. Entity 7 popping some shots. This is probably the most aggressive we've seen them all tournament long. And that's a good sign. And it's unfortunate because we've seen this happen so many times, Cameron, where a team is so down the leaderboards last week, they start going crazy because now, all the anxiety, right? All the pressure is off their shoulders.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? And this is what I was talking about, how the fact that they were actually playing the end game of the previous round to win. They were going on those flanks. They were setting up those crossfires. They weren't just huddling high down in a corner, shivering with their tails between their legs. So the fact that we get to see them do that again with the momentum of the victory of the chicken dinner, they could be an impactful force to kind of be the final boss of the teams that are trying to break into the top 4, because it's not going to happen for them mathematically. It's impossible. But phase 2 shifts to Los Leones. This is suddenly a very different game because
yes, it is.
Urban versus natural terrain, it's going to be wild.
You have to decide one or the other. And if you commit to Los Leones and that zone shifts away, it's going to be very difficult for your squad to extend to the end game. Let's see what happens, though, as you got Be Bold, looking to possibly camp out Influence Rage, pick off a couple players. They are in the middle of zone here, so this is a great position for them to be in. Lorenzen not able to get the knock on the Federal. So if they realize this is the same team, they could push on in a 4v3 situation.
Or even just take the isolated player and go for a 4v1. Free kill. Free point. Free elimination. But no, they are going to focus and stay on the high ground. They're not going to accidentally just full send into...
They should push this.
Can you blame them for being a little tentative after the last game?
After the last game, yes. But
they need to make sure
380
that they
points.
Cross all their T's, dotting all of their I's. They need to be 100% prepared for everything that could happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just looking at where they're at on the leaderboards, and again, if I'm Be Bold, I'm hunting third. Third is my goal, right? And if you get an opportunity like that, which is a pretty obvious, 4v3, 4v2 situation, I think that you should take it, especially right now. It's Miramar, early zone. Now it's too late. Now you've given up way too much time. your chance of getting third party is high, right? It's
Right.
just, you have to make those gut instant decisions. And I think the reason why Be Bold isn't willing to take that risk is the reason why we see them, in 10th.
Could very well be. You see, and
Gotta
Hyper,
risk
they're
it.
sending a lot of shots towards Queso, getting some good damage. They haven't got the knock for their own aggressive maneuver if they were looking for that.
Yeah, this is a tough position. This is what I early game play style, Cameron. Now that we got a little bit of time, this is something that I want to see teams tighten up, because what we notice is these teams like Team Liquid, Alpha 7, the two top squads, they almost avoid early game fights entirely, because they just know that, hey, if we take this fight, we're going to get third party. They only take them unless it's super obvious. They know they can delete them in like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
So seeing, teams like Hyper take these shots when realistically they're not going to push, just kind of puts a little question mark in my head. What do you think?
I mean, if they get a knock, they can then try and push off of it. And I think it can be useful for scouting maneuvers and getting that information, because that's only going to help them further into the round. The problem is, so many times we've seen, not just for Hyper, for any other team, that if they get knocked while doing that, their entire game plan falls apart.
Well, I mean, let's be real though. Let's say if they were even to get a knock on Team Kessel and push, I mean, what are the odds they're just going to get third partied and deleted
Right.
either way? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's where I'm starting to really realize like the difference between these top two squads. Like they choose their fights well. We'll see like Team Liquid even get two knocks, but if they know they're going to get third partied, they'll just say, let me just hold off,
Well, but the damage on getting a knock, even if you don't push, can be useful later on in the game.
For
These
sure.
things of what we call resources of like helmet and armor, endurance, the bleed out timers, that stuff can be even just med kits and stuff that can be impactful later on in the game, and you never know
Good
what
point.
could come and help you, what butterfly effect helps you later on.
Absolutely. And not to mention, gets them thumbs warm for the end
Yeah.
game.
It also-
some of that.
It also, if you get knocked, you're less likely to peek that angle again.
Good point. Good point indeed. Well, this is still stage 3. Yeah, looks like Evolve. Oh, challenging Fudia here. This is a big challenge. And Fudia getting that knock onto Brunson is going to hurt quite a bit. Where's the rest of Evolve? They need to commit the entire squad here. David now putting some shots on the Kayovsky. Got to win this 1v1.
Oh!
One
Everyone's
HP.
trying to get a
Got
ammo!
him.
These were very chaotic 1v1 sets by Furia. They were coming in all the way from the south. This is why Be Bold, I think, wanted to hang on to this position instead of pushing it on to the teams around them as separate and isolated as they were. But Be Bold do lose 2 players.
Oh,
and
no.
David might have also lost the vehicle. That's not good.
Oh. The McLaren, unfortunately, just stuck in one of the worst positions. Now Death Wolves is nearby. And look at this, right? We're talking about third parties. Death Wolves were right there. That fight ended just in the perfect time for Be Bold, but they do lose 2 in the process. So, again, some of these early fights are tough. Fudia lost the most, though, because they are right there aiming for third place.
Yeah.
And Death Wolves, I think Death Wolves, since they saw Fudia in the fight, they definitely pushed this extra hard.
Oh no, I think it's under the vehicle where these bullets are hitting. This has just gone from bad to worse for Be Bold. At least they have one still alive, dropping the smoke a bit late.
Gotta chunk it. David in big trouble. Now he's gonna go for the run here. All Glory Gaming might see him though. Does Cardi C spot him? We'll see in the next few minutes. Oh, he gets caught anyway from Influence Rage. Diego gonna get that thirst all the way from inside of Los Leones. And now here come the Death Wolves. Death Wolves do feel that, they see Hyper pretty weak here. Obscure with that DBS on the push.
Very aggressive push. There is a little bit of backup, but it's all 4 members of Hyper. They know that they're wounded. A couple of the med kits have already been popped, already been deployed, but they're just keeping the pressure on Hyper here.
Death Wolves need to make a commitment here really fast. There we go. Gonna go ahead and get that thirst. Beautifully done. And now, Hyper in big trouble. Death Wolves almost got them all taken out. We need to see a crazy play, though. Stars gets knocked, and that should be it for Hyper. They go out very early.
Clean, not a single knock against Death Wolves. That's absolutely huge, and it's even more impactful because the circle does continue to not favor them, but this position is still a point of interest in the zone, and they don't have to worry too much about trying to send it into the next zone as quickly as you would fear.
Beauty, I gotta be kicking themselves. Oh, that monster truck, too close for comfort. As we're gonna watch SLR and 9Z go at it, and Choco still gets the knock against Dragon. And there's Koi way far away from his team. Just going to have to watch his squad slowly dwindle away from long range. Oh, nice shot, though, against Choco. Hop in the vehicle, and he's on the way.
Oh, good damage, but White Elegy's not able to stay
Just
alive.
commit, Koi. Just commit to it.
At this point, back away. At this point, just try and salvage placements out.
What placement? What placement are you going to salvage?
On the corner of the zone, there is not much threat around this area. I understand it. I think Ascend could work either way. It's kind of a 50-50 choice.
Oh, he got the great... Oh, I thought he was going to get that confirmation at least. And, here comes Alpha 7 just saying, well, if you're not going to do it, we will.
Yeah, that's the other problem. The threat of a team third-partying with all of these knocks and eliminations in the kill feed was high. So, again, Koi perhaps a bit too tentative, but I completely understand it. As Alpha 7, they lost 2 players very early on, so they're not going to overpush this position either. Just use those frag grenades, try and steal a couple of eliminations away.
See what happens is Titan Gaming now on the push up towards All Glory Gaming. All Glory Gaming in 9th position, if I recall. Yep, they're going to have to make a play here. Red Ox, with the DBS, shutting them down real quickly. And the rest of All Glory Gaming too far away to help out their player. And Red Ox from long distance down to 1 HP. He's gonna go get knocked. Yep, and that is Red Ox gonna get finished. Oh, but Doran, he's right there.
Good trade.
Get the nice trade and maybe res on inactive. No, not gonna happen.
Yeah, Doran has to try and isolate these 1v1s. Gets one down. Now it is 1v1 left. First aid kit coming through. But it's a revive happening on the opposite side for AGG V2. There is a third-party team getting curious on that side as we do hop over back to the southwest. Again, Alpha 7 versus 9Z. And Koi did come! Koi did join the party!
Hey! Better late than never. Koi said, okay, you know what? I am going to get in the mix. What do I got to lose? We're in 14th place. Let me make something happen. It'd be good for him to develop his skills. And Koi is, honestly, he is a legend in the game. I mean, this man can get it done by himself. So why not? If you're SLR, hey, Koi, put on a show. Who knows? We might see him on another team soon.
Oh, man. Smokes out by Doran. I think he's out, knows where that player is hiding out in, though the volley goes a bit too far, and Doran's frag grenade in return. Listen, if Doran and AGG V2 have like a silent mental handshake here, maybe Death Wolves could get stopped.
It's possible here. Oh, Elite. Wow, look at that 9Z actually punishing Alpha 7 here. That is interesting. Actually, McGrellin did get knocked. 2 of the Alpha 7 players are gone. Next zone goes on up. What do you like in this next zone, Cameron?
Oh, man, I mean, anyone who's in Los Leones, it's kind of...
Who do you like the
coin
most?
flip from there. I guess Influence Rage. I suppose Influence Rage. But it's not...
Entity 7, they're unstoppable. They won the last game, Cameron. It's their time to shine. They're going to come back. I'm telling you.
My concern with E7's position right now is that it is quite split for an urban finish. It's very easy for those separated, isolated players to get run up upon by even like a duo or a trio in those buildings.
What happens. Yeah, absolutely correct.
I'd like to see them group up and hold that center spot. If they do that, then they'll my top spot, top building of this zone.
Let's see what happens here. As you know, Team Liquid are still in the mix. They have all 4 players up, so they could definitely try to extend that first place lead above Alpha 7. Alpha 7 with 3 eliminations, even though they have 2 players. That is going to put them back in first place temporarily. As we're still in stage 5. Yep, and this is going to be the Team Liquid position there. Yeah, they're going to have a little bit of a hill to climb here in the next few minutes, but they're going to make a push. It's going to be onto Entity 7, so that they do have that going for them.
Problem is, Ingo's going to be looking at it. Ingo's going to be overwatching that with the high floor, high angles from these buildings and Liquid playing in from the low ground. It's going to be difficult for them. If they have some vehicles, I could see them just making a send into the zone and finding a spot to hold out in. But the spray's coming out. Like I say, it's playing, fish in a barrel? It's whack-a-mole?
Oh, yeah. And now, Inko's going to be staring at this spot for sure. Because the next zone, if it goes up in any other direction, then Team Liquid's going to have to push out into the open. So the Inko's definitely going to be writing down in their notebook and have that ready to go for this next circle. Let's see where it pops, though. It can still go in any direction. It looks like we are going to get that urban finish, Cameron. So we're going to see this zone go down to nothing.
If it goes southwest, then it will be a bit of a different game with interesting terrain in play. But yeah, anywhere else, buildings galore, just everyone hiding out and trying to be the last one alive, which is, I feel like, is kind of just battle royales in general, but
that
especially so.
That is the goal,
but you know what I mean? Like an urban
Yeah,
finish, there's an extra level to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everyone's just trying to survive, and there's just so many buildings, so much coverage. I mean, the chance of you being able to, snake it to a top position is totally possible. Cardi in the open, putting on his dancing shoes, but Rata Boy gets knocked in return by Influence Rage Law. So Influence Rage in the mix here. Guizao and Death Wolves. Man, these guys are on a tear. 8 eliminations. And that is going to extend their third place lead by quite a bit, especially considering that Fudia are eliminated. So if Influence Rage realize that this is Death Wolves, I think they definitely need to try to make a little bit of a step up to try and take them out. But they are so far away.
Yeah.
They are going to be just holding their position for now. Next zone, about to pop. Where's it going?
Southwest? Maybe? No, it's going to basically be center. It goes west just a touch. But this is still, look at E7. I think they are starting to group up just a little bit. They are quite greedy with their 1-2-1 split still. But it hasn't been pushed on yet. It hasn't been capitalized yet. So we'll see if they can hold on to that better. But now Influence Rage, a good position still. Them trying to extend towards the center. I don't know what positions are really possible and what's available. So I can see them just locking down this position that they're at on the east side further.
Team Liquid getting a knock onto Inko from downtown. Yeah, you can see Jocko saying, all right, let me just try to group up with my squad. I think this was definitely a very, very greedy split. But they recognized it. We're able to make it safely to each other. Inko Gaming putting some shots on the NRG. And I think we're going to see some more hurrying up and wait. So 2 minutes on the clock. And, Koi catches McGrellet. So SLR Koi still putting in some work.
All right, puts it down to 1 versus 1. SLR versus Alpha 7.
I like it.
Koi's going to make it close.
Mafioso throwing some mollies. Oh, Koi jumping boxes. The floor is lava. And Mafioso. They are going to see. Yep, he sees Team Liquid wide out in the open. Now Koi. Now he said, okay, I know we're going against each other. It's time to work together.
Prepping a grenade. Smoking off that angle, smoking off the potential cross, I think it might have been. But also just trying to find a corner to hide in, because this is a good push for a Liquid to take. Much easier to push on this way, clear out a couple of enemy players, get some eliminations, get closer to placement points without having to push into the high ground that is blocked off aggressively by Inko and E7.
Yeah, you got to be careful, though, because it is Koi and Mafioso. These are players that if you make a mistake, they're going to take advantage of it, for sure. Rata Boy got thirsted. So Death Wolves going to lose a huge player. Down to 3. Obscure getting knocked as well. Death Wolves just getting shredded here on the rotation.
Yeah, Death Wolves were in a really good position on the high ground where there wasn't a lot of cover, and so moving from that spot, it's understandable that they're getting cut down at the pass.
It is what it is. Sometimes that is what happens. And yeah, look at that. Another player gets knocked. Rolls of War, especially since they realize this is Death Wolves. I am not shocked at all to see them just turn up the heat here. They want to get them thirsted out real quickly as we move back on over.
It's not even the 1 versus 1. Well, it is kind of 1 versus 1 because Ayala is way overextended. Free fire doesn't land. Koi, the great defense, instantly thirsts that one out. That was an unforced error by Liquid. No reason for Ayala to go so aggressive. We do have Death Wolves that get eliminated. Royals of War, very valuable eliminations for them to get because, again, how it impacts the leaderboard specifically.
Yeah, not to mention Death Wolves had 8 eliminations, so to stop them right then and there was very beneficial for them because they're trying to make that miracle run, but you got to stop Death Wolves at the meantime because if they keep playing the way they've been playing, Cameron, they're going to have a lead that's just not – it's insurpassable at this point. But we'll see what happens as, Alpha 7 still alive, Mafioso, last player up, and he's going up against Team Liquid here, or he was. Next zone pops. A lot of these players are going to have to get moving.
E7's looking good, but I think Influence Rage, they might have even better angles. We'll see how that actually impacts. But those two teams are focused on opposite sides of the zone. It's like a bracket they're going to face off at the very end, most likely. But as we're still looking at the two solo players of A7 and SLR and the remaining members of Liquid.
Oh, he's got that molly. Yep, you hear those pre-fires. He's going to go right on back. Mafioso getting tagged up. Man, this movement is absolutely insane. He's keeping an eye on those Team Liquid players. That's the player he wants to take out. He's also got his eyes set on Koi.
Yeah,
and Koi knows, trying to cross this hallway is not going to be fun.
Yeah, Mafioso's been dodging grenades for a while. Koi only has one molly left. The blue's starting to close in. Koi has the advantage in this fight, but we'll see how Liquid impact it.
Koi and Mafioso just going at it. They say, hey, you know what? We know that we're going to go out no matter what to blue, so let's just try to get one more elimination, and it's Koi going to get Mafioso. So that is Alpha 7 eliminated. And Koi most likely going to go out to blue here. And Team Liquid, they need to actually get on the move. 2 players up. They're going to do a blind send on up the hill.
Another option. They tried to find some of their angles to break in. Have been stopped every single bit of the way. And I don't know if this is going to be enough cover because Franco's high ground position. Chief needs to open something up. If he can get knocked here, that'll be something. But it's not going to happen as, yes, SLR do go down. They have 6 eliminations. Most, if not all, from Koi himself. And Inko now. High ground spot overlooking Chief and the rest of Liquid.
Yeah, and I bet they're just trying to put a little bit more work onto them, make it more difficult for them to rotate. And it definitely is. So Inko Gaming still in the mix, 6th place right now, 1 elimination. Looking to try and catch Death Wolves here. All Glory Gaming go down. That's going to be a huge loss for them. And it's anybody's game. We're now about to reach stage 8. This is going to be the final circle shift for this game. Where is it going to go?
And there are still 8 teams alive. It's still an urban finish at the end of the day, even if it is featuring more of the industrial area. He's coming in down low.
Spraying everybody down. Gonna get the thirst. And it's him versus 7. Oh, but Franco from the back is gonna catch him slipping. So that is Team Liquid done for. They're gonna hold on to first place for another game here. Because now 87 are setting their eyes onto Team Kessel.
Oh, man, a good grab on the north, but now everyone's focused on the south. 4 versus 3, there is one member of E7 that's playing a more flank angle, but I'm not sure how much support they're going to be able to give here, especially because Queso are already in the bottom floor.
Anybody's game here. 16 still remaining. Who is going to take this chicken dinner? Influence, Rage, Inko. Team Kessel, Rolls of War definitely needed. And Team Kessel going to get another elimination, and that is Inko Gaming gone. Oh, look at this. Team Kessel got the shotgun. They're pressing up the hill, and Silence. Oh, gets knocked. Are they going to be able to get the rest? The rest of the team is there. Team Kessel needs to finish this quickly.
They do. It's great for E7. Put themselves in position to potentially get another chicken dinner, 2 in a row. Franco doesn't have time to heal on up, and the revive's coming through from Queso. Of course, the drop down's going to try and stop that, but the recovering fire at range by Royals of War allows Queso to get the double revive.
Victex, man, just helping out Team Kessel right there and shutting down 87. But now here comes NRG. NRG looking to go and put some pressure onto Team Kessel as the zone is closing. And this will be the final zone coming up. Uh-oh, Fate. 2v1, TBS. Not able to hit the shots.
No, the grenades aren't landing from the teammates outside. It's all down to Melas. Last one up for NRG. It's not going to be enough. Queso holding on. It was looking close every single time. The jump across was good for NRG, but still Queso. More elimination. 7 right now as they remove Entity 7.
Great teamwork there from Team Kessel. Surprise Rolls of War didn't just straight punish them. Oh, here come the nades, though. Oh, that is way too close. M2M survives by the skin of his teeth. But yeah, Team Kessel in big trouble. Rolls of War want to get these eliminations sooner rather than later.
And I'm seeing low meds on Queso across the board. They've been getting knocked a lot here. So I think 3rd place is probably the furthest they're going to be able to take themselves. In Royals of War, they are pushing hard, especially because they can play under these walls. No real angle for Influence Rage yet. Oh, we see grenades being thrown in from the opposite side.
Team Kessel eliminated. Top 2 remaining. Influence Rage definitely need to cross this road. And with that third party, now they have a little bit of time to do so. So they're in a great position. It's going to be a big 1v1. Federal needs to try to catch Victex. Victex has the nade, though. Oh, and Federal jumps away from it. So anybody's game here. Royals of War versus Influence Rage. A great game for both these teams. They needed these points badly.
A lot of grenades still left in play at the moment. Clearing out that final corner. Coldcoat on the high ground could spot the small type position that the trio of Influence Rage are playing on, but there is still a fourth here, or closer towards the center.
Got him. This should be a Royals of War win. Great performance. Oh, but that shot from Lob now brings it down. It's going to be up to Coldcoat all by himself. What can he do? Oh, not to mention Tonka. Tonka finally pops out, catches Federal, but gets caught in the same time. So Coldcoat has to make it happen all by his lonesome.
Goes the high ground, has the advantage of the peak.
That Molly, is he going to do good? Is he going to be able to get the beautiful spread? And I believe it does. He catches him. So Coldcoat not done yet. 9 eliminations for Royals of War. Oh, he's got to win this 1v1. Him versus Milo. DBS. And that is how it's gonna end. Influence Rage with a very necessary chicken dinner, and that's gonna leave a lot of pressure off their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that one player, Royals of War, staying behind in the containers, letting them cross, that could have easily been the final nail in the coffin. But Influence Rage, they hold their nerve, and they get the chicken dinner, and you could never rely on a Los Leones or any Urban Finish chicken dinner, so it's a good one to win.
For sure.
Oh, dude, come on. We've had 2 banger games back to back. I'm so happy. I really am, because now it's not just a narrative of Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, which it typically is. We're getting much more, at least it's developing much more, whether it's Influence Rage, who just get the winner chicken dinner. You go a game before that, E7 taking the victory. Royals of War, both back-to-back second places. Hodgix, I take that all day, every day if I'm Royals of War.
Oh, man. I mean, they had a great game 1, right? They had a great game 1, and now with a second place finish here, this is 2 back-to-back good games of Royals of War. So when I said, hey, this is what teams need to do if they want to get 3rd place, Royals of War is doing their job, right? The problem is we're seeing a lot of these teams above them do great performances as well, Taylor, right?
I know. Yeah, and it's, it's not hard to see, right? But I don't know, it's weirdly like today, I'm a Royals of War fan. I am. I mean, Coldcoat put up a tremendous performance in that final zone. I wanted him to clutch that 1v3. I mean, that would have been special from him. And then you got Aragon right from game number 1. But I want to start here. Cameron, Red Ox was putting in great work. Dorian as well. Titan Gaming caught out with their pants down in a way against AGG, but they fought back tooth and nail.
Yeah, but like we're going to see throughout most of this round, once the mid-game hit, Influence Rage, with their position in the center of the urban spot, influenced so much. That's why we saw so many fights just like this on the edge, because no one could extend towards the center, or else they're going to open themselves up for the high ground man in the high castle type shots.
Sure. Queso doing a wonderful job, like you said, through the chaos. And I love chaos, right? As a spectator, as a viewer, caster, host, whatever role I have right behind the screen, I love chaos. The players, not so much, but Team Queso through that chaos. Let's talk about it. Great finish, 3rd place, 7 eliminations. We were just seeing a bit of that chaos. Obviously, they fall right here in the replay, but great work. Now let's talk about Influence Rage, though. They get into this tussle with the muscle at the end at stage 9, almost get pieced up, but they hold their ground, Hodgix.
Yeah, they held their ground, phenomenally. I thought they were going to go out here. I
did too.
Royals of War were able to get just one piece of utility right there on that broken wall. They would have been able to take them out, but they just weren't able to connect. And Influence Rage took full advantage of it. 17-point game from them. Beautifully done.
Beautifully done indeed. They come in 5th place. Influence Rage, Cameron, you were kind of singing their praises about their consistency, but also in terms of compared to Alpha 7 Team Liquid, right? Obviously some improvements needing to be made, but as far as an improvement, I would take this 1st place winner chicken dinner as that being the case. From 5th place to 3rd, I think it's still too far of a jump, but this is the start they needed.
Yeah, looking back, it kind of fits in the narrative that we pointed out at the start of the day, is that, yeah, sure, they have a win here, 7 elimination, 10 placement points, but just before this, they had the first elimination against them of the week,
right.
Only 2 points, so we need for them to really start being consistent at the top level of consistency, because you can be consistently poor, you can be consistently at the bottom of the leaderboard.
That's
not what we expect from Influence Rage.
Not whatsoever. And also from Death Wolves, a team that is looking to stay above Furia. They will do so in game number 2, Hot Jukes, finishing in 12th place with 8 eliminations. You know, the big question for them is what if? What if they would have continued their run, starting so early with 8? I mean, they could have had a record-breaking game.
Yeah, they could have, but the thing too is that they have the biggest targets on their backs above to everybody else because
absolutely,
everybody is hunting down that 3rd place spot, and 8 eliminations, a great game overall, and they're going to continue that lead, right? They're going to continue that lead for now, but look at Influence Rage, they're on the hunt.
They're on the hunt. They overtake Furia. That's the first time, Cameron, that Furia has dropped down from anything other than 3rd and 4th place. You know, Furia, the conversation last week, Cameron, was that Furia was kind of slow. They were just trying to maintain their position. We haven't really seen too many crazy moments from Furia or good games. And, well, it's starting to show as now Influence Rage will pass them up, and ultimately, obviously, Death Wolf sitting above them as well.
Yeah, and we saw the crazy send by them at the last second on that southeast sort of peninsula. The Death Wolves ended up taking over at the end of all things, but it was a very scattered send. It was almost like they had no other option, and they probably had no other option leading to that point. So for Furia, for them to stop this sort of slow death by 1,000 cuts, I'd like to see them make sense like that, aggressive moves like that, when the opportunity is better and it's not their last option.
AGG, be bold. We discussed how they needed to come up today. They're still sitting in 9th and 10th place. Truthfully, they're just not. The first 2 games, Erangel, Miramar, just not enough, right, to move them up to where they need to be. So much ground to cover. Hot Jukes, be bold. AGG, still a lot more work needed to be done, but I would be worried if I'm them because Team Queso, they're playing decently well today. Obviously, E7, they're a little bit further down, but they're even doing better right than that of Be Bold, and, obviously the teams that need to move up, but still, that race for top 4 is starting to heat up, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, until I see something from them, I'm not even going to talk about them. Besides the fact that they threw, Be Bold started, it's tough. So right now, I think we're going to go back in just a minute, and I think Furia is going to be who I'm going to be talking about.
I like that. Furia is a great talking point. They need to stop maintaining and start gaining. That's going to be the saying they need to live by. Hey, game number 2 is done. Miramar is gone. We'll be hopping into Aragon when we come back. However, we do have a special interview lined up for you. Sarpatch is on site to talk to Titan Gaming's Doran. Let's hear what he had to say.
All right, guys, here we are with Doran with Team Titans. Doran, congratulations. It was an intense match for you. You were by yourself most of the match, and still you got a lot of kills.
Yes. I was by myself since 17 minutes, something like that. And I did a good job. We did 10 points. It's a good beginning for the first day. Well, for the first match also, yeah.
So you're feeling good. You eliminated 3 teams. Team Liquid?
I don't know. I kill a lot. Yeah, Team Liquid, B-Ball, I think.
Yes.
Energy. And one more guy from the Death Wolves.
All by yourself.
Yeah.
Carrying the team right here. Bro, best of luck. Let's continue. Let's go, Nate.
The PMSL Pass is active today to the 30th of June. There is a message pinned at the top of chat with the code and a link. Redeem the code with the provided link to earn 20 points in the new PMSL Pass event. Be that much closer to earning the Dark Guard Shadowman set, Dark Legend UMP 45. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2024 PUBG Mobile Super League America Spring Season, day number 11. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Hot Jukes and Cameron Davis. 2 games down, about to hop into game number 3. We're running smoothly today. You love to see that. Aaron goes, where we go back to. And Hot Jukes, let's open it up hot with the discussion on Furia, a team that has been maintaining instead of gaining. That's what they need to do because all the other teams are gaining on them.
Yeah, I'm really starting to get nervous for Furia. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen, that dominant squad that I need to. And the reason why I say that is because they have something on their shoulders that a lot of other teams don't have. And that's the fact that they're in Group A, okay? So tomorrow is going to be their double points day. And they're going to have to watch everybody else get theirs, right? So what is going to happen, right? I mean, they need to create their whole way of winning this is creating a lead so big that nobody can pass them. That's the only way they're going to get third place.
Right.
If they do not have a good double points day, we're not going to see them in third. That's my opinion, right? So the fact that we're seeing them let off the gas today, considering their double points day is tomorrow, makes me nervous for them.
And that's a solid point. Obviously Furia, Group A, Cameron, another team that's also in Group A is Inco Gaming. And although they haven't necessarily been standout today, they still are in the running to potentially make it into the top 4. So Group A tomorrow is not only Furia's day, but also Inco's day.
Yeah, I do want to kind of hit back onto Furia, though, real quick, because I'm pretty sure we talked about this at the very beginning of this entire event, very top of the show. A lot of teams made big roster movements, more so than I think we've seen before, and we know that this space is rife of roster moves all the time. And Furia is basically a brand new roster of players from all different teams. I don't think a single one of them had played recently with each other. It wasn't like they took 2 players from one team and then threw 2 others in there. It was like 4 or 5 players that were up until recently up on different teams, right? So it's understandable that there would need to be an amount of time for them to get their chemistry in, to sort of like really get that sync up, that mental connection that you expect from the top level teams, which is why it's not surprising that we have Alpha 7 and the Team Liquid X Loops roster essentially be at the top. But so far today, it's only been 2 rounds. It still hasn't shown me any promising signs of being over that line. And as Juke says, with tomorrow, not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever. I mean, it's going to be Thursday, but not Friday, Saturday, or Sunday being the double points day, tomorrow being the double points day. Something needs to click. I want to see now, basically, or towards the end of today, to have hope that tomorrow they're going to come in hot.
Yeah, without question, because you can't bank on the fact that we had a bad Wednesday, but Thursday, double points will be all right. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, and it hasn't worked that day historically, right? So tomorrow is arguably the most important day for Furia out of the entirety of these 3 weeks. I think that could be said for every double points day for multiple teams, whether it be Team Queso, who's in the running, obviously Rose of War, who are just stand out at this point in time, just incredible influence, rage, Eco Gaming, right? These teams on their double points, they have to be incredible. Furia is one of the major conversations there. And, Hot Chicks, I loved what Cameron said during the commentary of game number 2 of Miramar, and that's Deathwolves have been really that Cinderella team, and they really have been. Coming out of the qualifiers, Deathwolves have been so consistently good and really made an impact, at least in my mind, all the way back to week number 1, where I was like, wow, Deathwolves is a serious threat. They are a serious team, and last game, 12th place, but 8 eliminations. Their ceiling is incredibly high, but what is it going to take for them to reach that ceiling?
Well, it's going to take a lot, right? I mean, it's not over yet for them. They're doing excellent here, and they have the most opportunity compared to everybody else that also has the biggest target on their back. And it's going to be the first time they're really having to deal with it. So it's going to be up to them to stiff-arm the competition and just hold on, right? And it's going to be easier said than done for sure.
Well, boys, if we get a military zone, Deathwolves, I think, are going to be all right. That's where they typically land. Now, granted, they had to go all the way up north, game number 1, Aaron Gale. Will they get blessed in game number 3, Aaron Gale? We're going to find that out. Hot Chicks, Cameron Davis, take it away.
Here we go. Match number 3 for Wednesday. And I'm going to say this. Out of all the teams that I would want to see come in 3rd place, so far from what I've seen, it's Deathwolves, right? Because I love to see teams here, on the west side of the world compete against the best of the best. And out of all the teams, when it comes to just looking at their play style, their hunger, their ceiling, as opposed to, of course, Team Liquid and Alpha 7, I think Deathwolves definitely has what it takes. But they also have everything going against them, Cameron, right? Because all eyes are on them. And, if Furia, if you're their coach, right, what would you want to see for them, right, in order to make it to 3rd place? Like, what would be your ultimate strategy for them?
I mean, ultimate strategy is really taking the opportunities, having clean communication with each other so everyone knows what page that they're all on, and maximizing point gain on the double points day that they have. And to be fair, to Furia's credit, they actually have the most bonus points of any other team in week 2. They were able to maximize their double points game day more than anyone else. Granted, seemed to be a little bit of a deficit for all the other days that they had, but if they can replicate their, what was it on week 2, on day 1, like a 3rd, 2 firsts, and a 2nd place, like that's pretty good. If they can do that again tomorrow, that'll be great. But for Deathwolves, on sort of the opposite side of things, not opposite on the leaderboard, but sort of opposite on the story, I think, is the big concern that I have for Deathwolves is because they've been on this Cinderella run, unlike all the other teams around them, whether it's Furia, even though it's a new team, it's veteran players, or veteran rosters like Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, is that they don't have the experience of picking themselves up when they get put down, when it's an endurance run for them at this point. Do they know how to stop the fights from happening? Because you often hear in esports teams people talk about the idea of a honeymoon period. When it's a new roster, everyone's excited to make something of the moment. Things are looking good, but the second something bad happens, and you have to figure out how to push through the problem areas, that's when things can go wrong. So I haven't seen signs of it happening yet, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking for Deathwolves, are they going to be able to maintain this level, or will they gas themselves out emotionally, mentally, before this entire run is over?
Well, yeah, they're not going to be able to, considering that they're on the opposite end of where Furia is, and that's in the groups, Cameron, right? Because Furia is in Group A, so tomorrow will be their double points day. Deathwolves are in Group D, so they're going to have the last day of the tournament to know exactly how many points they need to secure that last spot, right? So different strategies are going to come out big time. So if you're Furia, I think the only thing that you could do here is hey, you need to have a great Wednesday. Tomorrow needs to be a monstrous day, and then you need to just put up a wall against all the teams below you, right? Do whatever you can to stop them from catching you. And Deathwolves, you need to stop Furia tomorrow, and then on the last day of the tournament, you got to go crazy. So, there's a lot of theory crafting for sure.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to stop other teams. You can't just play your own game and just hope that luck is on your side, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, but the problem is that stopping an opposing team is not as easy as it sounds. Because
That's
on one
true.
hand, it's like, oh, well, it's their double points day, it's my single points day, so let's just hot drop them, and the risk reward is, like, you know, if we ruin their game, that's worse for them versus if we ruin ours. But when you think about it for like half a second longer, it's like, wait a second, if we just feed them 4 eliminations, that's 8 points, so wait a second. It's not like, it's not that straightforward.
Yeah, I think avoiding, I mean, hot dropping is one strategy. I think I like what you said earlier on, and that's like camping rotations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just do all you can to annoy them, right? Make them force themselves to go to another drop location, make them second guess them things. And any little kind of annoyance like that is just going to make it more difficult for them to have a successful double points day. So that's what I want to see during that time for sure.
Yeah. It's also once you see their name in the elimination feed and you're in a position to react to it, lean further in that direction. Don't just completely int. Don't just run down onto them one at a time and give them the opportunity to, again, get 8 free elimination points, but rather just sort of like have a slight preference towards ruining their game than another squad's.
Which would make sense, right? Because, I mean, on double points day, if they were to go on and win that game, they can walk away with 50. You know what I'm saying? And that's better than them walking away with... You would rather want to stop them than them getting 50 and you getting 15. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean... And it's crazy because you're right. When you talked about it earlier, this is a new strategy, you know, and it's taken a while, I think, for teams to kind of understand this meta. But they've had 2 weeks now, so there's no excuses at this point.
Right.
Like, you got to pull out every strategy in the books. You got to start putting the pen to the paper and start pulling them out here as, you know, it looks like Alpha 7 strategy is like, yeah, let's take out the team in second to last place.
Hey, Alpha 7, they got taken out. 2 of their members taken out very early on Miramar by one of the teams at the bottom. So I don't blame them for starting to put a little bit more respect back into all the teams in the lobby, regardless of where they are on the leaderboard.
That's right. Reminds me of that Christopher Walken speech, right? So sometimes you gotta show the hyenas, you know, who the lion is, and that is Alpha 7. Because I mean, these guys, like I said, I think that they're on the side of, yeah, like the battle between first and second, that's going to happen when it happens. We have the last day of the tournament to get our double points, so I don't think they're too worried. I think they're more focusing on like, hey, let's fine-tune things for the Esports World Cup. And that's the advantage you get when you're so high in the leaderboards, right? You don't even got to worry about anything. They know they're going there already, right? And I think they would rather fix things and get second and do better in the Esports World Cup than get first here and do bad over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the thing is that there's a limit to how much you can fix in these regional lobbies because the class of teams are entirely different. And when you start to focus on maximizing your playstyle against these squads, you could kind of leave openings that better, like higher caliber teams, when there's 16 of them in the lobby, could take advantage of. So I think that the focus should definitely be on fixing problems in regards to communication and rotations, and of course just your ability to land shots. But I've seen it happen before where teams are like, oh, we're dominating these lobbies, that means we're going to be great. It's like, not so much, because you're going to get punished. Like, what works here, sometimes that means is something that you're doing that can get punished there.
And one thing that is for sure is going to be playing an edge style, you know, because in that stage, all the teams are ridiculously difficult. So playing edge, you know, just kind of wiping teams that are a little bit weaker is going to be so much more difficult later on. So I think Alpha 7 are doing this because, like, let's be real. If Alpha 7 wanted, they could just head to center zones, chill, and then just take everybody out, you know?
Right.
But that play's obvious, right? There's nothing you're going to work on because there's no need for communication because they've been in that situation so many times. So playing edge now could put them in some harder spots to work on their comms. Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see them do this in the World Cup. World Cup, I want to see them focusing on something different for sure.
Yeah, as long as they have that in mind. And, I mean, Alpha 7, honestly, more than any other team in the region, has had that top-level experience of performing at the top level, being there on the world stage. So if there's a team that I could trust to know how to manage this phase of the competition for best results come World Cup, it would be them.
For sure. Well, We have a beautiful Western zone, and we might even have an Everest finish. So this is a very typical circle here. Teams know what to do. And let's see who's going to take advantage of it the best. Looks like Furia are going to be holding down that Everest position first. So they're going to have at least a decent advantage when it comes to that. We'll see where the last zone goes to.
Yeah.
But we also have teams like, Be Bold, going to have to push on in.
What worries me about Furia, though, is that this is an impactful spot. It's a very powerful position, but that usually means that there's multiple teams that are going to eventually try and fight over it. And so we'll see how much Furia can really hold off. And usually, oftentimes, you'll see it basically be split down the middle and, like, two victorious teams on the northeast and the southwest edge. See if Furia want to overextend and try and hold the whole thing now, because there is going to be a push in the compound. Queso directly on top of 9Z.
Gotta hit those. Potro not able to get that knock, and they're gonna lose some players because of it. And here comes Choco. No, actually, you don't even need to come over here. That's it. Team Queso eliminated, and that's the 7th place team. Tough loss for them. Yep, Team Liquid really quick on the third party. And good for 9Z to finish that fight so fast. They'll have a little bit of time to get rest here, but they're definitely going to be on the back foot because Team Liquid's coming in hot.
Really odd. Molly's on the top floor as well, just to make sure. And I think, is that it? No, there's one left hiding in the opposite house. Team Liquid lost track of where every single member was, which makes sense because they came in so hot. But let's see what this DBS can do. 1 versus 4. It's not going to be an easy task.
That's what I love about Team Liquid is that they send everybody because they know that their chance of getting fourth partied in this spot is high. But it ain't going to happen if you just wipe out the team in an instant, and that's exactly what they did. So nice heads-up play for Team Liquid to soak up some easy points.
It's a good position in the zone. It also gives them straightforward access into Everest if the circle does continue to play that way. So this, I think, was a very, very strong take for Liquid to do. They got eliminations, good positioning. What's not to love?
I mean, what more could you ask for, right? That's what you need to do, and they did it perfectly. 50 seconds on the clock here for Stage 2. This is only Stage 2, and we're losing teams already. Not surprised at all with an Everest position. Teams definitely want those dominant spots. But,
it's also
what's up?
It's also a lot of field to manage around, and then the river on the north as well.
True, yeah. Imagine if we see a northern shift to go all the way to the river. That'd be crazy.
Get some cube action. Cube ends up being center.
NRG are chilling by Cube right now, so you can see them splitting up, just kind of trying to figure out where they're going to go with this next zone. So everyone's in vehicles. They might get no engagement with Be Bold here on the edge. That'd be interesting. Is David? Yeah, he is trying to figure out the best spot to go towards. He's going to be pushing in through the zone. 5 seconds on the clock. Where are we going to get another toxic shift? Let's see. Nope. Right on to Everest. So everybody expected the zone to go here. We're going to see Team Liquid most likely even head towards Everest here, try to get a little bit more central as the teams on top are going to have to push on down. Alpha 7 as well, looking to head a little bit towards crates.
So with Be Bold and Energy, I wonder the likelihood that they expected another team to be up here. Thankfully, the shift towards the north does continue to give them a little bit of space to play around. They don't have to rush over the river too long as they can. It means that they can take this fight a little more methodically if they wanted to. But no one's really getting an advantage here. I'm not seeing any knocks. I'm seeing 1 or 2 players out in the blue to try and have those extended angles. But the grenades aren't landing.
Nades aren't landing. They are kind of hard to throw here. They have to kind of nail them perfectly. Oh, and that's going to do it. Yeah, going to catch Reyes off. And Malaz catching David. NRG taking full advantage of Be Bold here. And Be Bold, man, just not having that bounce back that we were hoping to see from them. And NRG taking full advantage. And that is it. Be Bold eliminated.
Not a single knock against NRG. A really good fight for them to win. And now there's enough time for them to consider now there's enough time for them to consider trying to find some information and crossing the river early if the option is available for them. I'm looking at the map and I don't see too many teams on the opposite side of the river. Most teams are still playing on the south of Everest, around the Gatka Fields.
That's the spot right there. I mean, and that position's just so strong because regardless of where the zone goes, you have like a lot of different options to rotate through. So I'm not surprised we're going to see so many teams take that position. Zone could still shift off of Everest, that's for sure. Alpha 7 are making their bet on the crates for now. Rest of the teams are just trying to find their way to sneak on in here. All Glory Gaming are going to take the spot right next to Everest. Oh, looks like they might even, Fran might be trying to get some sight lines towards N-Hyper. That compound where N-Hyper is at is probably my favorite position in the zone. It's so strong. Can they utilize it?
Yeah.
Can they utilize it? That's always the question.
Right. It's just, at this point, Furia's position, they haven't been too oppressive from it, but it's going to have sightlines over a lot of fights. It's going to third-party a lot of stuff. Now, granted, and Hyper from this spot, they could push towards the east over to AGGV2 and just kind of play below the deflate and not let Furia have those sightlines. But it's too early to go for a super hyper-aggressive maneuver on that just yet. And also, they're looking towards the west, towards Royals of War, but we're seeing more and more teams finally start to approach Everest.
Yeah, the reason why I like N-Hyper's position so much is because you can keep away from so many different squads.
Right.
And you leave yourself with like 3 different options to catch a third party, right? So if Royals of War fight Team Liquid, you can just push that way. If All Glory Gaming fight Inco, you can push that way. And if there's a fight on Everest, you can always push on up. And that looks like one of those options is going to happen sooner than later because the zone does go up north. Alpha 7 are going to be hanging on to their spot for now, but N-Hyper got to get moving, but you can't go too early. You want to catch a third party.
Especially because Entity 7 are also arriving in from the blue, so I think it's a bit hotter than what N-Hyper were expecting. They were forced to back away because of that. Rose of War didn't go as aggressive on Liquid as it looked like they were at the start. And now N-Hyper, I think they've kind of blown their cover.
I'm surprised they pushed so fast. That was crazy because you got to wait. You just wait for the third party. That's why that position is so strong. Instead, they tried to, be the first team there, and then they get third party. So timing, being a little bit of an issue here on the side of N-Hyper. But, Carrillo getting caught by Influence Rage. This is a big fight.
And it's a very close quarters fight. Really just going to be about grenades and shotguns. We see a couple of DBSs in play. Law going aggressive, a little bit of a pre-fire out. Doesn't catch the cross back.
They need to win this fight quick because Alpha 7 is going to get a full reset here, and they do get the reset. So now it's a 4v3 situation. Influence Rage probably telling Alpha 7, hey, dude, it was just a prank. We can just still chill here. We're in zone. We don't have to fight this. No, but they're going to have to. I mean, this is going to be tough because Influence Rage currently in 4th place. So right below Death Wolves. And then, Alpha 7 hunting down that championship belt. Oh, that knock on Amilovon. Influence Rage, they need to start getting aggressive.
They called it. They knew they were hiding in the containers, because why wouldn't you? Now Diego's last one up, forced to run away, hide something out. And there are places to hide, but I imagine Alpha 7 would watch and chase.
Let's see. Yeah, and that's what I was saying by Influence Rage. I would have liked to see them just kind of make that. This is exactly what I said at the top of the show, right, Cameron? Is Influence Rage when the going is tough and the decision's hard. They don't have that commitment to just full risk their entire team, Yeah. It was a 3v3 situation. They had to just full commit push. Yeah, the play's not obvious. You don't have very good openings, but you got to make it. Otherwise, you're going to get taken out, and that's exactly what happened.
And now look at Energy coming in from the opposite side, ready to clean that space up and then be the next team potentially at bat against Alpha 7. We've still got a minute left before the phase closes. Good timing for Energy to cross that river because they're going to have to cross at some point.
It's tough. It's tough for me to see Influence Rage, hold off on making those decisions because, they could have had a chance to take out Alpha 7 and had a dominant spot. Could have been a huge game for them. But instead, they're down to one player, regardless of their decision. So let's see right now is Inco Gaming. They noticed that Influence Rage are almost taken out. Could be a big chance for them to possibly pass them up on the leaderboards.
And look at
Fury.
Furia.
A big game, though.
Fury just waiting. They're biding their time. They're going to give some of these elimination points up. They're not going to try and push and get too greedy with them. And now here comes N-Hyper.
There we go. Coming in for the third party, but just a little bit late on the foot. And let's see if Stars is able to get a critical knock here. He's pushing up. Nade in hand, throwing a little early. Oh, and then Abeta in big trouble. Oh, gets caught, actually. That's from Furia. So now Furia is kind of trying to press down the mountain and look for some easy eliminations down here.
And Hyper have to go for the revives on the can. Stars is applying a lot of pressure to make sure that they can commit to those revives. As Inco does go out, Furia getting activated from this spot. And you can see on the map, they're leaving Kayaski on the west end to anchor their position. Could get overwhelmed there, but at the moment, doing their job.
Great job from Hyper. Did exactly what they were supposed to do, right? Just catch a third party on the way in, get some easy eliminations, loot, and then just start working your way up. But now they're going to have to start working their way up towards Fudia as the zone does crest even further towards Everest. Alpha 7, they're going to have to push out into the wide open as well. This is going to be a tough zone shift for a lot of teams. And Hyper, here they go. Going to be pushing in. Yeah, I was about to say, they can't be pushing into the open side of the mountain because that's going to leave them exposed to crates.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they realize it. Fudia should back away. Like, this is a point where you kind of want to just let the other team share this spot with you.
To a point, like House's position, throwing some grenades down on top of the vulnerable Royals of War. Already 5 eliminations for them. All 4 still left up. So they have some resources they can still throw at the problem. But yeah, definitely got to make sure they don't overextend their position.
Death Wolves get eliminated. That's a huge loss right there. We weren't able to catch it, but that's the third place team eliminated, and that's the team that everybody on the leaderboards is trying to catch. Fudia have 5. So we talked about the need, right, to see something from them. I mean, yeah, they did get a very, very beneficial zone. Let's see how they can finish it. Let's see what they're going to do here. They are keeping eyes on Hyper. They're just trying to hide off the push for now. I don't like the split, though, from Fudia. What do you think?
As long as Kowalski plays safe. Granted, he's not. He's speaking up and over, trying to throw so many grenades, but thankfully Liquid, Rose of War, and even Titan are all engaged with each other more so than Kowalski, and I think he is aware of that. In fact, he's now actually backing away to make sure that he doesn't get caught out too much, too aggressively, waiting for the Hyper push on the east side.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you just want to just share Everest. Just share Everest, let Hyper hold that side, you hold the middle. And then if the zone goes even more this way, continue to share it to the last second. But Hyper are looking to press this. This is scary because this leaves an opportunity for third parties from both sides. Baton moving out the way right on time. Yeah, he gets himself into a secure spot. So yeah, Hyper not looking to share at all. They're looking to press this fight earlier than later.
Well, they're not giving that much space by Furia. Furia is screaming at them to just come and push, but a good move in the buggy to really scout out all those members of Furia.
And then here goes Team Liquid looking to gatekeep Titan Gaming. That's exactly what they do. Chief catching a limb all the way from downtown. A limb back after his injury. The first day in a long time. And not the start that he was hoping for. But, man, Team Liquid are still in the mix here. Where's Alpha 7? Alpha 7 are still in the blue zone, right on the edge. They're going to have to make a bold push on in. Mafioso catches Koi, though. That's a big start.
Certainly is. They make sure that they cleared out all of Influence Rage as well. They're probably going to be searching on to SLR's position. So the knock against Koi is going to be really good for them.
Next zone. Oh, yeah. And now they're going to definitely need to start taking SLR's position here.
But NRG.
Meanwhile, Hyper pushing on a Fudia. And that is an initial knock here. DBS shots, and they catch up. So Fudia starting to dwindle down. They're down 2 players. What's going to happen? Caprice, never mind. They are gone just like that. And Hyper getting a huge fight taken care of at the right time.
Yeah, really good fight one for them. They did lose a player in the meantime. But because this fight on the south hasn't concluded, it's still all 3 teams intermixed with each other. No one's able to fill up the south on Everest, so Hyper could take even more position if they have the information. They might be coming in a little blind from the southwest side.
Looks like Hyper is going to just opt to try and hold off NRG on the other end. But meanwhile, we're still watching Titan Gaming, Worlds of War having a monster day-to-day. And they're looking to continue it. They still have 3 players alive and are not done yet. So let's see how they handle this, as they have a good gatekeep going against Titan Gaming and Team Liquid.
Ace not landing on the 2 remaining players of Titan. There are more ready to come. Those are looking better. They're looking closer. Red Ox, I can't believe he's still up, but Doran's gone down.
Chief on that off angle is going to be critical. And he saw Victex, but wasn't able to get the knock. That's SLR eliminated, so Alpha 7 do take that position. Carrillo gets knocked, though, by NRG, but he should be able to get rezzed. Yeah, Alpha 7, that's what I'm saying. Alpha 7 have no problem full committing everybody. It's just McGrellin up, but they won the fight and might just get a full reset off here.
Use a lot of smokes in order to stay alive. They have a couple of rocks with a high ground from Hyper. It's going to be a big threat, and that's if NRG doesn't continue to pose a problem.
Titan Gaming get eliminated. So Team Liquid are still there. And yeah, Alpha 7 just in a terrible position. No choice of their own. But they're making it work. They're just doing the best they can to try and hang on. And that's what you got to do when you're stuck in a spot like that.
And they got the eliminations. Certainly a good round for them so far, even if they do end up going out now.
Let's see what's going to happen as Milaz is pushing up. Team Liquid are still alive. That's the problem for Alpha 7. Oh, nice knock there. And that's NRG eliminated and a critical angle taken away. So now they have the open. And look who's got the most eliminations, Cameron. Of course, it's Revo.
Of course, it's Revo. Liquid aren't too far behind. Chief now swinging in. But instantly N-Hyper are in the position to just cut them off, cut them down. And Cardozo's the last one up. Going to try and snake out a second place. I don't know if a first is possible with 2 members of Alpha 7 and 3 up for N-Hyper.
By all intents and purposes, this should be an N-Hyper win. They have the high ground, they have the angles, but if the zone goes north, Alpha 7 are going to now have a huge advantage. So anything could happen here. Let's see how they play this out. You can see McGrellin and Revo starting to spread out, trying to cover more ground because they know teams are most likely going to start heading their way here in the next few minutes.
Oh, I love Revo's forward position. The high ground for N-Hyper should net them the win here, but Revo just sort of trying to stay ahead of it, trying to be in a position that N-Hyper wouldn't expect, but I think with this zone, they're going to be backing away. They know that there's a member of Liquid left alive, and so I think they're hoping that N-Hyper focus on that final Liquid player first, and they can then come in third party.
Yeah, I think that right now they're just trying to take center position because they know that, you know what, they need to let Blue Zone work for them, right? Because they're a 2-man, but Papa Blue might as well make it a full squad if they play it right. So they know that N-Hyper are going to have to start heading towards their position. They're trying to get in some sneaky, cheeky spots where they can catch them off guard. Stars sees that coming. He's going to be going down this edge here, and this is in the next zone. So, yeah, he secured this location. Very, very good for Stars. And let's see if he can catch Revo off guard.
Oh, running out the open.
You better watch out. You could fall. You could fall down this mountain and get knocked. And you do not want that to happen here in Stage 7.
Trust.
One more shift left.
That's happened to me. I was set up for a chicken dinner in solos of my own, and I fell, and I lost because of it. So I am well aware.
You got to put on... I know you're a climber, Cameron. You got to have your mountain climbing.
I know.
Man. You know better.
I know. I'm used to there being pads at the bottom. That's the problem.
Cardozo put on his dancing shoes. Wasn't able to get it going here. So, hey, top 2 left here. It's Alpha 7 versus N-Hyper. Alpha 7 do have the positional advantage. N-Hyper have the numbers. Where's this next shift going to go? One more shift left, and then this zone's going to nothing.
I think A7 know N-Hyper's position better than N-Hyper know A7's. So if they catch an early knock that doesn't get instantly responded to, that'll even the odds and make it a lot closer. But Baton now pushing down below. Revo should have heard that. Perhaps spotted by McGrellin. I think Revo's going to go for it, but instantly answered by Stars.
Caught. Yep. So Stars knows exactly where he's at. Revo's in trouble now because the nades are going to start coming. Yup, and Revo does get ticked off quite a bit. And that's that forward position that's critical. And Hyper need to throw all the utility they can. You did not want to get in a 1v1 with Revo, that's for sure. And Baton, that does look good. Let's see if it hits. Oh, the hard part is the nade has to be placed perfectly and cooked perfectly to hit him. Revo is in a very, very odd spot right now, so the nade's not just going to roll on top of him.
Gotta cook it perfectly.
On.
That was looking good, but I think it bounced. Just kind of like hit a shelf or something for a brief moment. But he's going more aggressive.
Oh, he's hurt. That did it right there. It's McGrellin down to 1 HP. It's looking all like an N-Hyper win here. But can McGrellin pull off a miracle?
A grenade could start it off. Stars and Baton close to each other. One looks good, but no, the DBS up close not going to be enough. And Hyper with the chicken dinner. You can see them in the frame. They were happy about that.
USA, let's go! And Hyper get the chicken dinner. We've been waiting to see this for quite a long time. We saw one earlier on in the tournament. And man, this has got to be just a nice little, sigh of relief. We love to see progress from these teams. And, I talked to Stars. He did say this was a big rebuild year for them. So it's a great sign from our partnership team, Taylor, right, to finally see just a chicken dinner here in the late game.
Feels great because it's their first win since day number 4. That is absolutely huge, and they did so in a big battle against Alpha 7. Could you ask for more? And on top of that, 12 eliminations. I'm really proud of Hyper for doing that. So after all, we did hype up NRG Galaxy a lot, right? They're like, they're the number 1 NA team. No, we got to be the number 1 NA team. So the battle is heating up, at least when it comes to NA, but also for the usual suspects, Cameron. Alpha 7, Team Liquid finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively with some big numbers, 10 and 9 eliminations for the both of them. Great game, right? They were kind of quiet in game 1 and game 2. Now it seems like they're starting to gain their footing again.
Yeah, they're coming in from the opposite sides of the zone. I wonder at some point, is this kind of a planned thing of let's get eliminations on the easier squads, and then we'll face off against our arch nemesis in the end. Because, Liquid came in from the south, they fought over Everest, whereas A7 came from the north, they fought through crates and containers. But Hyper, this whole run started with their victory over Furia on the high ground there, and that wasn't an easy fight for them to win. Furia seemed to be perfectly set up to defend that spot.
Yeah, Hodgix, walk me through that, because this is a tough game, it seems. By stage 6, we were looking at, I believe, only 5 teams remaining. It was very, very fast. This battle for hill control lasted a while, but also consisted of only 5-6 teams really going at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's all about timing and how you're able to win those fights. Let's be real. If Furia wins that fight against Hyper, they probably win that game, right?
Oh, wow.
But Hyper was just able to circumvent them. And that's why I said, right, even in that earlier zone, I love Hyper's position. I thought it was the strongest one because timing-wise, right, they're going to be able to catch third parties and take advantage of it, and they did exactly that, Taylor.
Did exactly that, man. Well done from Hyper, Alpha 7, Team Liquid, both getting 16 and 14. Obviously, still in 1st and 2nd place. They're not going to drop down. But Royals of War, another big victory from them, Cameron. I mean, 8 points. We'll take that to the bank after their 2nd place, back-to-back, right from maps 1 and 2. Royals of War still having a standout day as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's really exciting because a team that had a really positive week 1 had a disappointing week 2 that, weirdly enough, started with the chicken dinner but still ended that entire week in 12th place. This could be the bounce back that we're looking for, which I think it would have to be an even better bounce back than their week 1 was if they are going for a sort of 11th hour climb for 4th place. But then at the same time, you're looking at the struggles of Fury, looking at the struggles of Influence Rage, and everyone else above them. I think the window is still well and open.
I think so. Notable on the 2nd page, though, Influence Rage was 0 points. Obviously, Be Bold, AGG sitting in 9th and 10th place, both sitting at 0 points. Be Bold, they finished off early. That was NRG Galaxy taking them down. Big win from NRG to start off the map number 3, but for Be Bold to know they're not happy with that. Furia will move up above Influence Rage. Granted, only 3 points separate the two. Right now, 4 through 6, it goes game by game, Hot Jukes, as far as who's going to be in 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, right? So, well done from them, Furia. Let's see how high they can go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know they're kind of kicking themselves because I think they could have won that game easily, and at the same time, you got to just, take your licks as you get them. They got 3 more matches left to go, and they have plenty of opportunity. The big day is tomorrow, right? So they got to make sure that they're just on point for tomorrow.
Well, talking about tomorrow and talking about the next game, I think what could be potentially a good run is going to be on Sandhawk. Be Bold, Influence Rage, two teams rather, that performed very well on Sunday on Sandhawk. So for Be Bold to be in 10th place, Cameron, I'm hoping next game is the game they needed to at least get above AGG.
I mean, I'm sure they are hoping the same thing, but so far today I haven't seen any reason to expect that on my own end, which it'll be exciting when it happens. It'll be exciting when it happens, but I couldn't tell you how it would happen yet.
Well, we'll find out, and ultimately it's up to them, right, as the players themselves. They've got to dig themselves up from the grave and come out swinging. Can they do it? Well, we'll find out. We have reached our halfway point. 3 games done, about to hop into game number 4. It's going to be Sandhawk. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Sandhawk coming your way.
Hi everyone, PUBG Mobile Metro Royale Chapter 20 is coming soon. Curious about what new content there is? Let's take a look. Our focus for this update is on bettering your gaming experience, so we've added a series of improvements. First, we've added quick action functions. Starting now, you can tap to repair all items at once on the loadout page, and you can open multiple gift packs at once in your inventory. also improved the firearm status at the start of the match. During the preparation stage, firearms will be reloaded by default and will be set to full auto firing mode. These improvements all aim to save your time while improving efficiency. Additionally, you can now earn EXP from Metro Royale matches. In other words, playing Metro Royale will now contribute towards raising your player level. If you bring a companion into Metro Royale, they will also earn companion EXP. Chapter 20 also brings brand new honor rewards and collectibles. What's different this time is that after you get certain gold collectibles, they can be displayed in your personal space of the main lobby. You also have the chance to unlock home collectible decorations. Place them in your home to show them off to your friends. With the new version update come enemies who've already infiltrated Metro Royale's Arctic base and Misty Port. While you're out exploring, stay vigilant in these areas, as Striders are active there. Oh, and we've also added 2 new firearms in this update, the P90 Cobra and P90 Steel Front. Don't forget to try them out. That sums up all the new Metro Royale content. Chapter 20 is about to begin. Hop into PUBG Mobile Metro Royale and experience it for yourself. We wish you all successful evacuations and bountiful loot.
Mobile Super League America Spring Season, day number 11. The final week is here, and we're starting off with everybody on an even playing field. No double points, which is making for some interesting conversations, at least when it comes to the leaderboard. Not necessarily first and second with Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, but more so from third on down to 10th place. So, really enjoying how today is going. We've already had some incredible games with some big wins from unsuspecting teams, such as Hyper, who just took Arrogale map number 3 with a decent amount of eliminations, I believe finishing over there with 12, and first win since day number 4. We'll bring in our talents, of course. I'm talking about Hot Chooks and Cameron Davis, and we're about to hop into Sandhawk, a map that is the odd man out, Hot Chooks, one that is, at least I feel, a time to really set the pace and obviously get the points that others aren't simply getting. There's only certain teams who have been doing well on Sandhawk, and Alpha 7, Team Liquid aren't necessarily those two teams. I view this as a map where Death Wolves or Influence Rage could really excel at and hopefully get the much-needed points they needed to go up the leaderboards.
Well, let's see if it's going to be a map for Funia, because the zone seems to always go to their island, which is kind of crazy. I wonder if we're going to see it for like the 9th time in this tournament so far. If it doesn't, right, it's a big opportunity for those teams you mentioned for sure. At the end of the day, Sandhawk is just one of those games where you kind of have to throw your hands up, hope you get zone, and if you do, right, capitalize on it. That's the big thing, is that if you do get that legendary Sandhawk zone, you want to end with like 15 elimination chicken dinner. And there's so many teams that need that right now. So I hope that if we do see one of those teams get it, they don't squander it. You know what I'm saying? They truly utilize it.
Without question, I love the shout from Furia because top 3 is a pretty consistent placing for Furia when it comes to Sandhawk. And I expect them to be top 3 by the end of map number 4. And I think they've been trying to wake up a little bit. Game number 3, how much did they wake up? Well, 8th place, 6 eliminations. That was, decent, I would say. And you could argue, Cameron, right? If they do win that fight against Hyper, they potentially win the game. So they were that close yet so far away.
Yeah, but you don't get extra points for being close, right? But to your point, definitely a much better start on round number 3 than the first 2 rounds. And yeah, I actually look back and not to double check your work, but to double check your work, on week 2 they got podium, aka top 4 and above, and I think for their instance it was top 3 or above every single Sandhawk last week.
Yeah.
So for again, Furia set themselves up to have the most confidence and momentum, whatever that means, going into their double points tomorrow. This is the perfect time for that to happen.
I think so, without a doubt, especially that they're dropping down a couple of places and Influence Rage is starting to move up. So before, they only had to worry about Death Wolves. Now they've got to worry about Influence Rage and obviously Eco, who's going to have double points tomorrow. Regardless how they're performing today, tomorrow is still a potential scary. I mean, after all, remember, double points, the first double points we had, Hot Chooks, Eco Gaming was one of our top scorers for week number 1, right? So they now go into week 3 tomorrow, double points, with a real chance to overtake those big placings in top 4. So if I'm Furia, I'm getting paranoid.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to be paranoid, to be honest. Because, anybody could do this. Anybody could do this at this point. It's all about just how good is your double points day. And you're right, Inko did have that great one at the start. I don't think it's going to be the same, though, here at the end, because now that teams have had 2 weeks, right, to really understand how this whole double points things work, they have a chance to now realize that, hey, we got to stop these squads. We have to stop them. And there's going to be so many teams that need to stop them. So I wonder if we're going to see that. I hope we do. If we don't, I'm just going to be like, you know what? None of these teams deserve to be there at the World Cup, honestly. Because you gotta adjust your strategies. You have to.
You have to, especially on the international stage, Cameron. I mean, adjustment is what makes some of the best players and the best teams, right? I mean, BR is unique in the fact that not every fight you take is going to be similar, the same, right, of the fights you've taken previously. It's so unique. The third parties come at you out of nowhere. The zones, you never know where they're going to be, although you could probably get a good understanding and try and set up for your best. Adjustments is what BR is all about. You don't have that, Cameron. You don't become a champion.
Yeah. I will say, though, if there's one map that doesn't play to being able to set yourself up for, multiple lines, how do you play for the future in the zone, it's going to be Sandhawk. This map, it is all about, we kind of jokingly, or at least I jokingly refer to it as, the TDM map, because you just run into fights, you try to get the eliminations. This is not a map that rewards sort of the macro play as effectively as the other maps, which is why we've talked about it before. It's so well situated in where it currently is on the rotation, because teams that have struggled, this is a great way to sort of reset themselves and try and put themselves forget about what happened before, set themselves up
and Hyper, the winners
of the final 2 rounds of the day.
So that's interesting. If it's a map, Hot Chooks, and I love that TDM take, by the way, Team Deathmatch take, Cameron. So if it's a map that's hard to set up, then how is Furious so... I mean, you obviously mentioned that they get blessed by zone, and obviously they do, but how can they remain so consistent on a map that's not consistent?
They got blessed by zone. Honestly, that is the answer. Because the thing is that Furia makes the bet, right? They go to that mountainside on that north-left side of the map, right? So if the circle goes there, they are going to get a top 3 finish. Yeah. That is literally their whole strategy. If it doesn't, they don't, right? They just try their best and try to get a points. The crazy part, though, is that zone has gone there so many times, and they're not able to get that that whole 20 elimination chicken dinner that we see so many other squads that do that on the international stage. And so it really makes me question, right? Hey, why aren't you doing even better when you've gotten that many circles?
Well, real quick question to you, though, because you're a wizard on Sunday. Let's say if you're a wizard today, where's Zone going to go? Because you called it right on map number 4 Sunday. So where's it going to be?
Cave. Because I want to see it, baby. Come on. I want to see that cave finish. I've been begging for it, so I got to just put that out to the universe. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Hey, what about you, Cameron? Real quick, where do you think it's going to go? Cave, or do you think somewhere else?
You know what? Let's go Northwest Island again. Why stop?
Okay.
Why stop with a good thing happening?
All right, let's do Northwest Island. Let's go Cave. Hey, both are in contention. I'll keep note of that. We'll see where it does end up going. Hey, but we've got Sarpatch on site to talk to N-Hyper's Baton and hear what he has to say. Let's send it. Sarpatch, what did Baton have to say?
Match 3 is done, and here we are with N-Hyper, the winners of the match. Congratulations. How are you guys feeling?
Thank you. We're feeling good because we finally wake up a little and we will try to do our best.
You guys are doing great today. FS is doing really good today. That match was came to the wire between you and the other Brazilian teams. How do you think this will face you with this week, the last week?
I think this victory will help for us like mentality, and I think we will be better, more better.
You had changes from last week to this week, right? Acuna is out, and we're back to the roster of the first week. How do you feel about that?
I feel good because Capri is playing good. Yeah.
All right, yeah. They're playing good. Absolutely. There's nothing else to say because they won the match, so it's absolutely true. Let's take it back.
Thank you for that, Sarpatch. Hey, chat, the PMSL Pass is active today to the 30th of June. There's a message pinned at the top of chat with a code and a link. Redeem the code with the provided link to earn 20 points in the new PMSL Pass event to be that much closer to earning the Dark Arts Gentleman Set, Dark Legend, UMP 45. Well, here it is, map number 4 on Sanhok. We hyped up Fury, we hyped up the zones. Let's see it both come true. Hot Jukes, Cameron Davis, take it away.
Let's go. Sanhok, the first one of the last week. Let's see who's able to get this chicken dinner. Are we going to get that Furia zone once again? That would be insane. Furia would be like the luckiest team on Sanhok because it's crazy how often it has worked out for them. But the last time it happened, Cameron, right? Furia were on their double point stay, and Deathwolf sent it all the way to their spot and was able to take off a couple other players. So if that does happen, I'll be interested to see Deathwolves do that same thing once again. Oh, what happened?
A bad
Did he
drop,
not hear him?
I guess? Wait, where? Oh, this is towards the north around Cal, Tatmok area. What are they even fighting over here? And why is Pedrino holding down, pulling the shoot?
He's gaming.
Not a lot of glory to be gained from it, though.
Yep. Oh, well, you know what? We're not going to get that island finish. It is going to go to the right side. Cave's still in play, baby. Come on. I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see it.
But now the big question is, how does Furia react? How do they respond when they don't get a big bonus, a big benefit right off the drop like this?
They lose. They lose, Cameron.
Like 16th place, that's what you're saying?
That's what's happening. Well, 15th, because All Glory gave it to get 16th.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, you don't know. Pedrino could take this one out. Not that far from the zone.
Run, Pedrino, run. Got a lot of loot so far.